Do you know what day today is? I'll give you one guess. It's National Donut Day! Now here's a fun, quick history lesson about National Donut Day. National Donut Day actually started in 1938 in Chicago, but it was to honor something that had happened years before. In 1917, during the thick of World War I, 250 volunteers with the Salvation Army went across seas so that they could encourage our troops on the front lines in France. Now these volunteers set up huts that were near the front lines along the trenches so that they could provide food, clothing, and encouragement and spiritual support to the U.S. troops at the time. They also wanted to provide them baked goods. The idea was that they could bring a sense of home and a connection to help the troops stay rooted and founded and encouraged while they were fighting on the front lines. However, they quickly learned that their little huts on the front lines in the trenches weren't actually conducive to making the baked goods and the fresh foods that they wanted to make for the troops. So two young ladies got a clever idea to take a soldier's helmet, heat it up with oil in it, and they began frying, you guessed it, donuts. These two ladies, Margaret Sheldon and Helen Purviance, became known as the Donut Lassies. They were a hit. The troops loved and adored all of the volunteers, but especially the Donut Lassies. Years later, the Salvation Army is still carrying on that same tradition, and we have the National Donut Day, the first Friday of every June every year. Today is National Donut Day, and to celebrate and commemorate that day and to pass on the legacy of the Donut Lassies, Salvation Army volunteers around the world today are delivering donuts to healthcare workers that are fighting on the front lines of the COVID crisis. A single act of kindness over 100 years ago is still impacting, influencing, and encouraging people today. The power of kindness is incredible. And let's be honest, donuts, they're delicious. Yes, they are. With that little history lesson in mind, and inspired by that act of kindness over 100 years ago, I decided to ask our Heritage Hospice staff and volunteers if there were any acts of kindness that had been done to them that they had received that just impacted their lives and stuck with them in a powerful way. Here are some of their answers.
I've had many, but one of them that just sticks out in my mind is quite a few years ago. I was a single parent. I was sitting in my Sunday school class, and actually, I was doing the Power of a Praying Parent Sunday school class. I had been really worrying about what we were going to do for Christmas. It was December, and I didn't know how I was going to get Christmas for my kids. And somebody came in the Sunday school class and asked for my car keys. And I gave it to him, wondering why. But he took them, and then he brought them back. And when I got to the car, he had filled up my car with Christmas gifts for my children, gift cards. I mean, we were abundantly blessed that Christmas. Somebody had to remind me that it is very important to receive just as much as it is to give.
One thing I do remember during this pandemic that was a small act of kindness was my best friend and her family gave us a meal from Texas Roadhouse. It was very much appreciated. We were very grateful and thankful, and she also wrote a little sweet note when she gave us the meal. So that was very touching, and that is something that I will always remember during this pandemic, as we were certainly struggling. So it is something that we, like I said, will always be grateful for.
And one was my senior year in high school, and I was not able to finish school at school. I had to get homeschooled because I had a really bad car accident and I missed prom, and my friend and her date came out all dressed up after dinner to take pictures of me, and that completely resonated in me to this day.
Just bought some plywood and I was at the back of my truck and I was trying to load it in. Unfortunately, there was a wind that day and I am not the young buck that I used to be, so I was struggling. Along came a Hispanic man and he saw what was going on and he stopped and said, "Hey, can I help you?" And of course, the macho side of me wanted to say, "Nah, I can handle it." But I didn't. I said I would be grateful for some help. So he got on one side and I got on the other, and within a matter of minutes we had my plywood loaded. I gave him my thanks and he went into the store. I only wish he would have come home with me to help me unload them.
What is one act of kindness that I can think of? The most important act of kindness in my life from the very beginning was when my amazing parents chose to adopt me. I think that was the most kindest, caring, compassionate thing that I've ever experienced, and I get to live it every day.
Those are some great stories and examples of people who were impacted by single acts of kindness. One of my favorite scriptures is short and sweet, kind of like a donut, and it's found in Galatians. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people. Today is National Donut Day, and the history that most people don't know is a celebrated legacy of volunteers doing a single act of kindness to somebody to make them feel loved and connected and home in a time of trouble and a time of war. So I challenge you, go out today, grab a donut, remember that act of kindness. Maybe grab an extra donut and pass it on to a friend. Grab a dozen, give it to your coworkers. Pass it on to somebody who needs it. But look for opportunities to go out and to be kind and to do good to others, because you have no idea what an impact you might actually make. And 100 years from now, maybe they'll be celebrating and honoring your act of kindness the way that we celebrate and honor the act of kindness of the Donut Lassies back in 1917. But the point isn't to get famous and have a donut day. The point is to do good. Whenever you have opportunity, look for the opportunity and maybe have a donut or two along the way.
No! You're diabetic.
It's for the video!
No donut.
Donut day. Diabetic day.
Hey!
In it? Give me a minute.